It won't be like you're not a part of Facebook. You're not a part of Facebook.
My name's on the masthead.
You might want to check again.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
I like the way you die, boy.
I don't want to be a product of my environment.
Now answer my question. Were you rushing or were you dragging?
My boy's awake at smile.
What's up, Film Fixation Podcast? We're back. My name is Jaron Allred. I'm joined here by Austin Hyatt. And today we're going to be talking about The Godfather. We made a lot of bold claims for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So we decided to look up the greatest movie of all time, which is, that's the wide opinion.
Yeah, we didn't need to look it up. You just know culturally that Godfather's always been the best.
And we said this was the best animated movie, Spider-Man, and the best Spider-Man movie. We got flamed a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's accurate. I'd say it's accurate.
Yeah, I stand by that for sure.
Yeah. What other animated movie? If you look at the ratings on IMDb, Letterboxd, second best is Spirited Away. Yeah. And I hate that movie with a passion.
That scared you, didn't it?
It scared me. My parents rented that movie when I was a kid, and all I remember is giant baby grabbing the girl, and she's in the underworld, and her parents turn into pigs. And
yeah, that's scary.
The old grandma who buys her, they won't let her leave and stuff. That was just as a kid watching a movie where there's a kid alone in the underworld with no parental guidance.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just terrifying for me. And it gets under my skin when I watch it. I tried to watch it a year ago or so. I just couldn't. I didn't finish it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah. But before we get into The Godfather, we're going to talk about some film news. I'm going to hand it over to Austin. What do you got for us?
Okay, nothing big here because we actually recorded pretty recently, 4 days ago. So, this one, Vin Diesel blames Fast X bad reviews on Jason Momoa. He said that he was overacting and maybe he was just acting. I know we didn't see it, but I can't imagine he was the only flaw in the movie. But that's what Vin says.
Jason Momoa looked really bad.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Really over the top, villainy, just stupid. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't take him seriously at all. And they're hyping him up to be they call him the devil in the trailer. Right. He just looks ridiculous. He's wearing stupid outfits the whole time.
Yeah, he got that top bun with those chain earrings.
And he's fat. He's not in Jason Momoa type shape. So he just looks kind of ridiculous. It's the fact that Vin Diesel's blaming the...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you heard it here first. On the off chance Fast X doesn't win Best Picture this year, it's Jason Momoa's fault. Okay. But it probably will. So we'll
probably will, yeah. If you're a gambler, I'd get in on those.
Yeah.
On those odds.
Mm-hmm. So. And then the rest is just some... Okay, I'll just go through it. Disney wants to make The Lion King into an epic saga like Star Wars, which... whatever. I feel like their live action one didn't even do well.
We've seen that movie before.
Yeah. So yeah, probably not gonna take off. Captain America 4 changed their name from New World Order to Brave New World.
Okay.
For whatever reason. I think New World Order is kind of a charged term.
So they're making that with Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie is going to be Captain America. Sebastian Stan's going to be in it, and then Harrison Ford is going to play Thunderbolt Ross as the president.
Oh. So the recasting.
Yes, yeah, the fella that died. So
when did that come out?
Let's see. I couldn't tell you. I could tell you.
Probably just next year.
Yeah, either later this year or next year, early next year. So we'll have to check on that. The Little Mermaid bombed at the Chinese box office. It did worse than Mulan.
I was gonna mention that if you didn't.
Yeah. Which is crazy. I wonder what the issue was, but
I don't know. People probably listen to this pod about it. They decided not to go see it.
That's true. We do have a big listening in China. So, and then last thing here, Mission Impossible 8 shuts filming down due to the writer's strike. So this is part 2 of the one that's coming out. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is
thought-
something.
Isn't Tom Cruise like on the moon for that? Or is that for another movie?
I don't like. Is he currently on the moon?
I don't know if he's currently, but I thought he was filming something on the moon. I thought it was the part 2.
Maybe he's filming the next Fast movie on the moon.
Maybe.
With Vin Diesel.
That'd be good.
That'd be great. No, but that is scary that we're starting to see like the effects of the writer's strike. I mean, a lot of shows that already got canceled or, delayed, but we're going to start seeing it with movies that are meant to come out next year or the year after. So,
Yeah, that's not good.
no, not good at all.
That's gonna be like October to December next year.
Yeah, hopefully they can get it figured out because I think the last writer's strike lasted like 3 months. Yeah, which doesn't sound like a lot. Really?
Just vague.
Vaguely. Yeah, it was, I think, in 2007, so a while ago, but no, but you probably do. I'm not discrediting.
I was like 8. Kind of just knew what was going on.
You were just plugged into the cinema world back then.
Yeah. The W.
GA.
Yeah. I was, back then I knew more. Now I kind of forgot a little bit. So.
Yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, so that's all the news I've got. We can hop right in.
Also, I wanted to mention Tom Cruise. He is, I don't know if this is, I doubt this is true, but he was trying to get like the release for Oppenheimer moved back because his movie comes out a week before,
Right.
or 9 days before. So once Oppenheimer comes out, it's going to take like all of the IMAX screens in every theater. So he doesn't think it's fair. He doesn't think it's fair that his movie only gets 9 days IMAX showings.
Yeah.
Which it's not, but I don't know. How can you, I mean, it's too late. I don't know why he's pushing for this now.
Right.
He actually is.
Yeah, they should have. I mean, the release date for Oppenheimer, I don't know how this film works, the inside, timing wise, but
yeah.
Oppenheimer the release date has been announced for over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? And so why couldn't Mission Impossible like pivot and change it up by a month or 3 weeks or something,
Yeah.
But
So who knows? But, yeah. Is that it? That's it, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to talk about The Godfather today. I'm going to give you guys a little synopsis here. An offer you can't refuse, spanning the years 1945 to 1955. The chronicle of the fictional Italian-American Corleone crime family. When organized crime, family patriarch Vito Corleone barely survives an attempt on his life. His youngest son, Michael, steps in to take care of the would-be killers, launching a campaign of bloody revenge.
Yeah.
Like I did last episode. It is directed by Francis Ford Coppola. It stars Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, Robert Duvall, Dan Keaton, Uni Russo, and a bunch of other Italian names that I don't want to read.
Mm-hmm.
And the reviews are very good. I'd say it's best ever. It's got a 97% Rotten Tomatoes critic score, and the audience score is a 98%. IGN gave it 8 out of 10. I don't know what's going on with those guys.
That's crazy.
Recently, yeah.
After last week, because they also gave Spider-Verse 8 out of 10. I wonder what they gave 9 and 10s.
I don't know. I feel like I saw a 9 out of 10 recently. Like, I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy was like a 1. It was like a 9 out of 10.
Wow, that's
I can't
crazy.
remember that.
Maybe it's just because they cater to like a different audience or something.
Yeah, it's like, this one's not about Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah. Wait, does Spencer still work for IGN?
I think he does, yeah. He's in charge of that's why he's not on the pod.
Right. Hey, we do have big news about that.
Oh, we do.
Maybe don't get your hopes up, listeners. That Spencer's moving up north, up to where we live.
Yep.
In August, and he said he'll be back on the pod when he moves up. He'll have more time, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
He might be back.
That's a big if.
Not that anybody's really missed him because he was on the first episode and hasn't. Anyway.
Well, then he was on screen, and he didn't watch the movie. So
And he kept having computer issues, so he just kept getting logged out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
A bit unprepared, that guy. So we'll see. We'll see if we let him back on. We'll put a poll down. Comment down below.
yeah,
If you actually want him.
I can't imagine they would. So you should be good without him.
But IMDb got a 9.2, very good, and Letterboxd has got a 4.5 average. The budget, we had a $6 million budget, and it grossed $291 million, which was a lot back in 1972. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. That like $1 billion?
291 million.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll pull up an inflation calculator. You can keep talking.
Yes. Then it's 782.
Wait, you said 291?
291. I'm guessing it's 780. See it.
Wait.
Made. What's your money?
Yeah, I don't know if that's right, but it says 2.1 billion. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Hey, 2.1 billion. That's pretty cool. What were your thoughts on this one, Austin? What did you think of it? What would you give it on Letterboxd?
I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 4.5 originally, but then when I rewatched it this week, I gave it a 5.
Yeah. It's a 5 for me, just because you talk to anybody, even myself. It's not a movie I enjoy the most, or that I think would be like the best in my book.
Yeah.
When you say what's the best movie ever, I think 2 movies. I think Citizen Kane, which I've also never seen.
I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
And I say The Godfather, just because that's what they're pushing. That's the agenda they're pushing.
Yeah.
It really is a fantastic movie. Obviously, like, the casting is perfect, the high stakes are perfect. And also, one thing I really like about these movies is the immersion that you feel.
Yeah.
Like, from the get-go in The Godfather, you feel like you're a part of the family. Like, you feel like you're in the movie with them.
Mhm.
I don't know how to describe it, but the way that Coppola creates this vibe around the whole movie, it just fits perfectly, and it flows really well too.
Yeah, I think so as well. Very gloomy. I mean, this film is shot. It's very dark.
Yeah.
There's scenes like when they're filming the opening scene where Vito is meeting with that guy who's asking for justice with his daughter. The blinds are wide open.
Right.
Like there's sunlight in this entire room, but it's so dark. You can only see their faces. And when Francis Ford Coppola, there's a lot of backstage, behind the scenes stuff that we're going to get into. A lot of trouble filming this that happened. We basically had to fight every single day on set to get this movie made the way he wanted it.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the issues were with Paramount produced this movie. And when they showed Paramount how it was being filmed and how dark it was, they were very hesitant to let it keep going.
Okay.
They tried to change it, let's make it brighter, make it more lighthearted or whatever. And we just have to thank Francis for having the determination to follow through on his vision that he had. And I agree with you. I don't think it's not my favorite movie. That's just personal opinion.
Right.
I can see why it's a masterpiece and why it's a lot of people's favorite movie ever, and why it's considered the best movie ever. But I think we need to update our views on what is the best movie ever.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time, this came out in 1972. And I don't think people had seen anything quite like it before. You know, I mean, Star Wars hadn't come out, Jaws hadn't come out. People were probably watching Dorsey walk down the Yellow Brick Road,
Right.
you know, hundreds of times. And then they saw Vito and Michael, you know, in this awesome crime family. It was just probably revolutionary for its time. But I don't think, you know, 100 years from now, it's going to be revered as the greatest movie ever.
Right. No, I totally do. And you hit the nail on the head, I think, because I think it represents a turn in cinema. Like I've just got a list here of the Oscar winners for Best Picture for The Godfather and after. And you can draw like a decisive line of, you know, a turn in like just a few years before it was The Sound of Music. And you think of that film and you're like, wow, that's an old film. It's like a totally different color palette in your head, a totally different script expectation, dialogue expectation. And then The Godfather kind of kicks off this more serious tone or elite filmmaking. And so, yeah, I think what you said is like people experienced that for the first time and it established it as the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't just go back and say, well, The Godfather's not that great anymore because that's like blaspheming against, you know.
It's still great. It's still
No,
a masterpiece.
No, I could put a few movies over it. I don't want to sound like uneducated or whatever, but a few more modern movies that I prefer that I think are better. It's hard to say. I think this movie is perfectly paced and perfectly acted. You really don't see a bad performance in this at all. I can't think of one. You do in Godfather 2.
Yeah. Godfather 2 is a little too long. We just watched that a couple days ago. Yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday. 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And normally I really like movies that are 3.5 hours, like The Irishman, not Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's 4 hours. What?
You don't like that?
No. I can't think of The Irishman. But that one's great. And watching it all at once, it's kind of tough. I like watching The Irishman. Like, it usually takes me like 2-3 days.
Yeah.
You know, which Martin Scorsese said, he directed it. He said, don't do that because the movie's about accumulation of detail, all coming together at the end, you know, which is probably how, I mean, this is about Michael Corleone's fall from grace, you know, with his family, turning his back on everyone and becoming the, you know, the head of the Corleone family.
Right.
But it's tough, you know, it drags a little bit. A couple scenes you could probably cut out. And it cuts back to Vito, you know, growing up in Italy and how he came to be. You probably could have cut that whole thing out of the, you know.
Yeah.
As much as I liked it, you know, but it just really no need for it to be there. I don't know.
Well, for me, it was the parallels that you saw with Michael and Vito.
Yeah.
In the contrast. We both talked about this in our reviews.
We did, yeah.
So I think it needs to be there, but I don't know how well it was executed.
Yeah.
Because those were, I don't know.
I mean, De Niro won the Oscar.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is crazy because, I mean, he's in a quarter of the movie.
Yeah, 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah, it was got to be best supporting actor.
Yeah. When you and I were talking, I turned and I was like, man, this is a great performance from Pacino.
Yeah.
You were like, yeah, he didn't even win the Oscar.
I know.
Which I was shocked. It's crazy.
Yeah. And was surprised. You know, The Godfather, this one, 3 people were nominated for Best Supporting Actor. 3 people. It was Al Pacino, James Caan, and Robert Duvall.
Okay.
3 different people. I've never seen it before.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, just because this was a big cast and everybody had a great character development within first Godfather.
Yeah. You know who said this was the greatest cast ever? Stanley Kubrick.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's still true. Barbie.
Yeah. Yeah. Barbie.
Ryan Gosling, Margot Robbie, Will Ferrell. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Mario and Ryan. Much the greatest cast ever right there.
And you got Dua Lipa too.
Oh, geez,
I mean-
yeah. Dua Lipa. Do you see that her album came out for the?
Yeah, yeah, her song on the album. Yeah.
I don't want to listen to it because I don't want to be familiar with the song before I see the movie. But afterwards, I'm gonna be cranking that.
Right.
So, yeah. What else do we want to say about this movie? I just wanted to just talk about how, I mean, I love old movies.
Yeah.
The 80s, I mean, the 90s, I'd say are my favorite time for movies. A lot of my favorite films are from the 90s. Stand By Me, Goodfellas, 1990, which wasn't nominated for an Oscar. Can you believe that?
It wasn't nominated?
No, it wasn't even nominated.
Wow.
Yeah. It wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
Interesting tangent here. I watched Hurt Locker today,
You did?
which won Best Picture in 2010.
Yeah.
It beat out.
Social Network.
Did it? Wait. I
Yeah.
didn't see. Wait, did Social Network not even get nominated?
You got nominated.
I don't know, because I was looking at the Oscars website and I saw that it beat out Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah,
And-
Social Network didn't get nominated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Hurt Locker is kind of mid.
I
You know,
it's just like,
I know you liked it, but I was watching it today and there's like no character development.
what
Each,
did I
like-
give it?
I think you gave it a 4, and I gave it a
Well,
3.
that's like,
Yeah.
you know, like it was good.
Yeah.
4 definitely, a 4 should definitely not win Best Picture.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should do a whole episode on Oscar snubs one of these times. But
We should, yeah.
just a
lots
real
of,
interesting thing to
lots
think
of them
about.
out there. I don't agree with, the Oscar winner is like 50%. That's it.
Yeah.
But the Social Network, that was, some people think that's the greatest film of the decade.
Yeah.
2010s. So that was a very big deal.
Great movie.
That's Quentin Tarantino. It's one of his very favorite movies.
Really? Yeah. I love hearing about directors' favorite movies. Like I was listening to that other podcast, The Rewatchables,
Mhm.
and they had Aaron Sorkin on, who is a screenwriter, I think. And his favorite movie, one of his favorite movies is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
And one of Fincher's favorite movies is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Mm-hmm.
So the hosts that he was with were like, why don't you and Fincher do a movie together if you both love this movie so much? And he's like, well, we did, and it was about the founding of Facebook. And they're like, oh my gosh. But anyway.
Were they joking?
No, he was serious. He must have just slipped his mind.
That's funny. Yeah, that's one of the best scripts. I'd say.
Yeah.
The Social Network script.
Fantastic.
Just flows, But yeah, I mean, I love 80s movie. 70s gets a little bit tougher. They're a lot slower.
Yeah,
You got
look at my
Jaws, New
stats.
Hope. But The Godfather, it's the first time I watched this, I didn't get it entirely.
Yeah.
I thought it was slow. I was, reached for my phone a couple times.
Right.
But this time I really paid attention to it. I really came to appreciate it. And how I just loved the Godfather's character, Vito Corleone.
Vito, yeah.
Everything he says, like his whole mannerisms and the way he played the character was so beautiful. Like he reads his lines so like gentle and
Mhm.
quiet, but everything that he says carries such weight.
Yeah.
Might as well have screamed it. And the performance, what I just read when I was looking up like trivia about this movie, but he didn't memorize lines. He read them for the first time from like notepads,
Uh-huh.
like little post things that he would put around the room and stuff.
Wow.
So he's just reading them from those while he's keeping his performance because he thinks that that's the way to give a more authentic performance. He did the same thing on the set of Superman. He played Superman's dad.
Okay.
And there's that scene where they're on Krypton. And, he's like, I guess he just put a bunch of Post-its around. Read. Like that.
Wow.
Very interesting. Never
Did he
heard
do
of
that
that
his
really.
whole career?
He's known for it. I don't know if he did his whole career.
Interesting.
Or sometimes he just didn't try that hard.
But yeah, I've heard he's notoriously hard to work with.
Yeah.
Like he's always been.
There's some funny stories about him behind the scenes of this movie.
Really?
He was a prankster, did some stuff. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay.
But yeah, masterpiece. Really can.
Yeah, when you're talking about movies that are this good, it's really hard to rank them.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a flaw in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Like it's just perfectly executed, perfectly acted, like we've been talking about. Not that it's worse than any movie. Just I have more fun with certain movies, and that's why I put them above it. But
I love Goodfellas a lot more.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, I like Goodfellas a lot more.
I think it's a better mob movie.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining. It's more fun. I like the way it's shot a lot more.
Mm.
Like you're like high on drugs the whole time.
Yeah.
You see Henry Hill, his character, in his fall from grace, which I think is a lot better than The Godfather 2, how they did that. But yeah, just, I don't know. I don't want to be like, I really want to say this is the greatest movie of all time, and that it's my favorite, but, gotta be true.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying is like, it can be a perfect movie and not be your favorite movie at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect movie. No flaws, no notes, Okay. Godfather 1. Godfather 2 is a different story, which is interesting because we were talking about this too. If you go on Letterboxd's top 250 narrative films, Godfather 2 is above Godfather 1.
That's weird to me.
Very strange.
But yeah, why don't we get into categories?
Okay, let's do it.
Favorite part? You want choices?
Yeah, let's hear some choices.
I have a few.
Okay.
Pretty much just the whole movie. Just like seeing the scene. Okay, the opening scene with the Godfather. He's meeting with the man who wants him to kill some dudes.
Right.
Or meat. Some stuff. You get that opening shot.
Yeah.
Then turns.
Mm-hmm.
It's for forgiveness.
Right.
I'm not gonna do the whole scene. But
You should.
Should I?
Load a video of him doing the whole
Okay,
scene.
yeah, great. But yeah, that whole thing. Very great introduction to Vito and his character. What he's about.
What I love about that is there's no exposition about his power. Like it's just that dialogue, and then there's that kind of juxtaposition to this huge gathering that he has for his family.
Yeah.
So you see what he's capable of, the things that people are asking him to do, and then you see the kind of influence that he has and how many people around him love him or, work for him.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just hundreds of people at this wedding. I think it's just perfectly executed and a great setup to his character.
Yep. I loved it too. What I didn't like was the cuts like to the wedding when they're just like dancing.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it adds to it.
You think it does?
Yeah.
They're just singing, I don't know. That's what got me like on my first viewing of this. Like, oh, how long is this wedding?
Right.
Like, is this a quarter of the movie?
Right.
Which it kind of was.
And it was.
It's like 25 minutes, I'd say.
But then, I mean, that's what The Godfather 2 does, is it gives you some background to how Vito started off in America.
Yeah.
And to see like what he's produced over his lifetime. Like how many people are happy at that wedding? How many people are living in luxury because of the things that he's provided?
Yeah.
I think it just really adds to his character.
Like I like Michael talking to, his girlfriend about like the story of Vito, and the how that singer, how he helped him out.
Right.
I don't know. I can't remember who the singer
I can't
was.
remember his name either.
But he's, helped him get out of his contract in a very dark way.
Mhm.
And you get that insight into his character, you know. But and then there's just a lot of different scenes in that wedding. Just a little long.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think, the whole thing is about family.
Yeah.
The whole story is about family and how big it is and how loyal they are to each other.
Mhm.
So I think by showing all of them in like little snippets of their time at the wedding, it's great.
All right.
We can disagree. That's
Well, I like
okay,
some
man.
of the snippets. I like most of them
Yeah.
actually. Like I like what's his name? I like
I really like when they're just singing on the stage, whatever that song is.
that's the part I
Philo
don't
Luna.
like.
Yeah.
It's funny. That guy is like practicing what he's gonna say to Vito. It's
Right.
Luca
Big guy.
Brasi. Luca
Yeah.
Brasi, yeah. What funny thing about that scene is that Luca Brasi, the actual actor, he was very nervous for his first scene alongside Marlon Brando because Marlon Brando was a big name.
Huge, biggest star in the world previously.
And so he gave off a really like fidgety and nervous performance. And the director, Francis Ford Coppola, really liked that.
Mhm.
So he integrated it into his character. He's like nervous
Wow.
guy. So they added in that scene after where he's like on the front porch, like practicing what he's going to say
cool.
to the Godfather, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
I mean, that goes back to like a perfect casting, that Marlon Brando in real life is, this intimidating
Yeah.
figure.
Has this type of respect
Right.
for people.
That's awesome.
All right, so that whole scene. And then I'm going to cut to Michael saving Vito at the hospital where he realizes something's up. Nobody's guarding my father.
Right.
The nurses are gone. That one nurse shows up. It's like, you're going to be out of here. Like, nobody's supposed to be here. Because the cops were like, making sure nobody was there so that the guys,
Hit him.
yeah, the guy's men could go in there and finish the job after they made that attempt on his life, And then he moves him upstairs with the nurse, and he tells the nurse, he's like, "There are men here coming to kill my father. We need to move him," And that sort of calmed her down or shut her up,
Yeah.
She was like,
She wouldn't let him move.
yeah. And then they have that little like look, where Godfather, he sheds a tear. He's smiling at Michael,
Yeah.
because he knows what he did for him, which I really liked that scene. So, yeah, that
Good
whole
one.
thing.
Yep,
Good one,
great.
right?
Yeah.
Michael takes out Tessio and the police captain at the diner.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I really liked that whole build up to it,
Yes.
And oh man, one thing I really loved about that scene is before when they're discussing the plan and the old fashioned toilet is going to be taped at the back or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Santino's like, hey, you better make sure that gun's there. And I forget who he's talking to. But he's like, it'll be there, I promise. And then when Michael's actually in the bathroom about to get it done, he like looks for it and can't feel it.
Yeah.
It kind of lingers on that. Like he looks for a second.
I know. I didn't know if it was going to be there.
Yeah, my heart dropped. I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
That was the first time I watched this movie. That really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that movie was good, but there's this one scene.
Yeah.
Like it built so much anticipation for what's going to go down. Like I've seen mobsters get taken out in diners all the time, and it's no big deal. Like
Just in your normal life or what?
Oh yeah, just walking around, Utah. But like in movies, like I've seen De Niro. There's one scene in The Irishman. He like lays out this plan of who's gonna kill this guy in a diner, and then just walk out. I had no problem with it. Like I just wasn't all nervous for De Niro. I knew
Right.
do it. This time, like I know Michael, he's a war veteran, but I don't think he's killed anybody. Like he's a war hero, but I don't think he hasn't taken anybody out.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
He's just barely like kind of decided to do this to save his father, you know. And he lays out the whole plan. We're laughing at him, you know. Sonny laughs at him, and they decide to go through with it. And it lays out this plan for so long.
Yeah.
This suspense just keeps building. Then he's in there, and you don't know if they're on to him, you know. Tessio like frisks him again as he's leaving.
Right.
To go to the bathroom to go get it. And when he comes back, I was just so nervous that something was going to go wrong. You know, I thought that was like the best 10 minutes of suspense I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was really fantastic.
Yeah. So that's what I really liked.
You know what? The more that we talk about this, bring these scenes. This is the best movie ever. My favorite ever. No, seriously, such a fantastic movie. But anyway, go on to the next.
Okay, so next one, Michael meets Apollonia, and that whole, you know, scene in Sicily,
yeah,
which is great. You know, great break from the movie. I mean, where it was going, you know, it all just kind of it's a little bit of a twist, you know, change of pace, and he's happy with Apollonia, and she's in the car, you know, she wants to drive, she wants to surprise Michael, and then we get that big betrayal by the guy who's supposed to protect him, you know, and just really, you know, you go through all the emotions, and it's only like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it really seems like a whole movie in itself.
Yeah,
their courtship and their marriage, and then when she dies, that took me by surprise.
Yeah,
you know, because it all happens within you know, a minute and a half.
I know.
You see the guy like running away, the guy that's supposed to protect him, and then he's like, "No, don't do it on."
It's crazy. This is considered like one of the like love stories people know about, you know, in film. And she's only in the, you know, it's such probably the shortest love story of all time.
Well,
Up? Oh yeah.
Sorry,
that's true. And that's the saddest, honestly.
Yeah.
The shorter you go, the sadder it is.
Yeah.
I like. Dang. So yeah, we love Apollonia.
Yeah. I don't even remember the other girl's name that he was dating before.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's weird. All right. So moving on from that, Vito's meeting with the five families after the murder of Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
Which is tragic. Also, I wanted to talk about. Well, I'll bring this up in my least favorite part.
Okay.
I just don't want to forget it. But so the murder of Sonny, you know, and the Godfather, he goes to the mortuary. That guy repays the favor that he'd owed to Vito.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, do what you can. Look how they massacred my boy. So sad. You know? Marlon Brando, incredible performance. It's crazy. He obviously won the Oscar for best actor at the Oscars. And then he meets with the five families, and just that whole monologue, you know, you just can't not listen to the whole thing. I was like just glued to the screen.
Yeah.
What he was going to bring up at the meeting. You know, what was going on there. So yeah. Also, I wanted to bring up like the influence that the Godfather's had on like pop culture.
Yeah.
That people probably don't even realize. Like I had heard people like say nowadays, like, look how they massacred my boy. You know?
Yeah.
Like I've probably heard that 5 or 6 times the past year. And it didn't even register with me like where that was from. And I doubt it registered with people who said it where it was from.
Yeah, probably not.
You know, people just quote the Godfather. We don't even realize it because it's so rooted in pop culture and what we do.
Yeah, 50 years later.
Yeah. Dude, it's probably the most quoted like movie, most referenced movie of all time.
Most referenced, probably, yeah.
What are the most notable ones? I remember Zootopia. Remember that?
Zootopia?
Yeah.
It's fun.
That's probably the biggest one, honestly.
The first time I was ever exposed to a Godfather reference was the Rugrats in Paris movie.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
Fantastic. Angelica is Vito. Instead of like petting a cat, I think she's petting her Barbie doll.
Okay.
Great stuff. It's really great stuff.
You need to rewatch that one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. Let's just do a quick.
Yes, I know. I mean, like The Office.
Yeah.
Michael's probably referenced that character. Make him an offer he can't refuse. That's been like 100 different movies.
Yeah.
You know, TV shows especially. I feel like every TV show, like sitcoms, just have like a Godfather episode.
Exactly.
You know, where they just reenact the whole thing.
It's the same Despicable Me. Okay.
Despicable Me.
Yeah, let's just
The Minions probably. Those are Minions.
a wealthy movie producer owns a horse in The Godfather that he loves dearly. Whatever. We all know what happens. Gru finds a doll's head in his bed and screams the same way the movie does.
Okay, I think I remember that.
Moonrise Kingdom, apparently. Star Wars Episode 3.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
So Wes Anderson.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, this seems like really subtle references.
Yeah.
So Ocean's 13, you just watched that. You remember any references to that?
I watched Ocean's 11.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's all they're different. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Just
tons of references in film and pop culture.
So, all right. So that was seen. Next one, last one, I'll say. Carlo Rizzi gets killed, which is, his sister's husband, who's abusive. Should we include that scene where she's freaking out? Because his mistress calls.
Oh yeah, and she's just breaking everything.
Yeah, she's just freaking out. I don't think she's all that great of an actress. I'll say that.
Really.
She's in Rocky, and she gives such a weird, like, paranoid performance. The first like half of the movie, she won't speak. She like owns a PetSmart or something, like a pet store, and he doesn't have a pet. But he just comes in, Rocky does, and just like talks to her. She says like 2-3 words the whole first half of the movie.
Weird.
And then Rocky's like forces a date on her where her brother forces her to go out with him on Thanksgiving. And he like throws out her turkey that she made. And then she decides to go. And it's just like a whole, she's a lot.
Okay.
But you've heard that in like Rocky 3, when she's like, you can't win. You've seen that.
Yeah.
You are afraid. Pretty good.
Right.
I mean, Rocky's good. I don't know. She's just over the top. And then in Godfather 2, what do you think of her now? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. She was one character that I feel like I didn't really get in Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Like she's just so alienated from Michael, and then she comes back and she apologizes for not really any reason at all.
Because she's like making him all worried about her and how she's doing.
Yeah. But then after that, she's just like totally loyal, no question about it.
Yeah, she like
no nuance
gives
to it.
the kind of her fault that
the photo died.
He got, but she was all asking him to, accept him again.
Right.
That's weird.
It is weird. But anyway, yeah, she wasn't anything spectacular, I don't think.
Yeah, so her husband gets killed, and she's pregnant. Then Michael officially takes his. Yeah. We get that great scene where his wife, his sister comes in all freaked out. She's just so all over the place. Yeah, that's probably why I didn't like it so much. She never is like she gives a grounded performance at all.
Yes.
She comes in freaking out that Michael whacked her husband. No reason to get upset.
Yeah, what is he all up in his business about?
Speak to him, normally.
Yeah.
Have a conversation about it.
I
putting all these accusations out there.
I thought she forgave him a little too quickly. She like falls into his arms and she's like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah. Well, he was abusive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he also, I guess Michael didn't really care about that. He cared that he betrayed him.
Yeah.
He told those guys like where he was going to be or whatever. What did he do? Yeah.
Sorry, I watched this several weeks ago, so I'm kind of getting it mixed with the second. But that is good foreshadowing to the second movie where Michael cares more about the business than the family.
Yeah.
That he didn't really care that his sister's getting abused. He cares more that he got fingered, as they say in the mob.
Yeah. That was his first big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bad decision. Part 2. But yeah, you know, his wife is like, "Is that true? Did you really kill that guy?" You know, and he's like, "Don't ask me about my father's business." And then he's like, "You know what? You asked me one time. Is it true?" He goes, "No." He just lies. Crazy. She's like, "Oh, Michael." This, you know, she leaves the room, and then his guys surround him and they close the door. Super great ending.
Yeah.
That was one of the best endings, I think. Yeah. But yeah, so that whole scene.
Okay.
We're gonna include that. So
Wait, so what was your least favorite scene?
least favorite. I had two things on here.
Okay.
I get to my not so least favorite. I'm saying my least favorite. Vito's death and just playing with that kid.
And falling over in the...
Yeah. And he gets a orange slice the outside of it, and he like perfectly carves it into some teeth in like half a second.
Right.
Puts it long. I just think it was too long. You know, he's playing with that kid a little too long, and then he dies. The kid goes up and sprays him. You know, with the water.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, I like that scene again, just because it shows who Vito is. You know.
Yeah. I guess people were crying in the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't it so crazy how attached you get to his character in so little time?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true with any one-off movie. But when he gets shot, because I didn't read a synopsis, you know, I didn't know a lot of plot points going into this movie.
Yeah.
When he gets shot, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't die, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's such an iconic character.
Yeah, I didn't know either. First time. Yeah, very surprising that he's like probably killed hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And people are in the theater crying.
Yeah.
You know, mafia guy. Yeah. Just shows you how great of a job they did at displaying how great a person he was.
Yes.
You know. So yeah, that was like, I just thought it was a little too long. You know, like I got on my phone, I was like, okay, I've seen this before.
Right.
You know, second time through, we'll just wait till he dies. It was like 10 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
What you want from me.
I didn't notice it. That's all.
Okay. Second least favorite part. It's kind of funny though. Sonny beating up Carlo in the street. Carlo is his sister's husband.
Oh yeah, when he's like kicking him against the fire hydrant and stuff.
Yeah. You know how like bad some of the fighting is?
Yeah. Oh,
one of the punches, it's like a whole like 2 feet from his face.
Yeah.
That's how bad he misses, you know. And he just moves with it, and the sound effects are kind of bad, but he was just nowhere close to landing a punch on him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And then the kicks, you know, like such light kicks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously theatrical.
Should have done another take.
Well, that goes back to what we were saying about the difference between this and, you know, a more modern movie. You wouldn't see that in a modern movie, you know. They'll use camera tricks. They'll, you know, take different takes.
Yeah.
You don't see big gaps in fighting choreography.
Yeah.
Just a little thing, but
like imagine Fincher let something like that slide.
Yeah.
You know, one of these films. We just watched this scene. It's like behind the scenes of the Zodiac filming, where he made Jake Gyllenhaal film a scene where he is in the car by himself. He lays down a newspaper in the passenger seat. He made him record that scene 37 times.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like a 2-second thing where he just is looking at it. He sets it on the passenger seat.
Right.
Yeah. And then Jake Gyllenhaal's joking beforehand. He's like, how many times, they're asking him, like, how many times do you think you're going to have to record this? And he goes, 20 or more than 20. And it ended up being 37.
Oh my gosh.
And then the last one, Fincher's like, you know what I like that one? Let's move on.
Wow. That's crazy.
I can see why Gyllenhaal, I guess, didn't like filming that movie with Fincher. He hasn't worked with him since because of, you know,
Just how intense and
how many times you have to film a scene over and over. But But yeah, so
Interesting.
I don't
So
like the fight choreography.
that makes sense. And even in the second film, we're watching, and there was one point where like 2 or 3 frames were like blacked out in the bottom half, or they had like a black X on them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you
I
noticed
did
that.
notice that. Yeah.
It's like, how did that make it past?
Yeah, when they're like the revolution is happening.
Yeah, in
I
Cuba,
noticed that.
you see that. It's kind of interesting because then it wins Best Picture. Could you imagine a Best Picture winner today having like a frame mix up like that?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's all digital; it's different, but
Not Nolan.
not Nolan. He's legit. I would say my favorite scene is probably Michael whacking those 2 guys in the bar.
Yep, that's me too.
Yeah.
That's
That's-
easy. I'd say it's
yeah.
easy.
It's pretty easy.
All right, we agree. Least favorite part, you agree, right?
What?
Least favorite part, you agree as well.
I don't know. I can't think of his favorite part.
You like the fight choreography?
No, that was I'll say that. I'll
Okay.
say that was my least favorite.
Okay, good. Ideas for a sequel? Just leave it. See, don't make a sequel.
I don't know how they set up the move to Nevada.
Yeah,
I was like really wanting to watch the second one to see how that played.
really. I'm
But
just kidding.
I guess you could just leave it.
No, second one's good. I gotta watch it again, I guess.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I don't know. Wish I could articulate it better.
It definitely, it's only so good because it's a continuation of the first one.
Yeah.
If that were, and obviously it couldn't have been, people, I don't know if people would have hated it back then, but we wouldn't be talking about it.
It's supposed to be like the best sequel ever.
I think it does everything well, except, like we said, pacing and some character development.
Yeah. What do you think is the best sequel ever? To Across the Spider-Verse?
Maybe. I don't want to sound dumb, but Empire is a huge step up from the first Star Wars.
That's like where my initial thoughts
Yeah.
go. Is Empire.
Yeah. That's got to be a tough one. Yeah, I can't think of another sequel. Because, think of other great trilogies. Temple of Doom is a huge step down from
I
Raiders.
think so. I kind of like Temple of Doom.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's kind of, it's George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's least favorite.
Yeah. Well, I guess
They, regretted
it's the
making that one.
least-
Yeah.
The worst of the three.
And it's a
But I still think
prequel.
it's pretty good.
Prequel.
What?
Yeah, it's a
It's a
prequel.
prequel.
Yeah, they didn't want to make the Nazis the bad guys 2 films in a row.
Huh.
So if you look at the dates at the beginning of the movies, it takes place like 2 years before Raiders.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What was Short Round doing?
Yeah, that's, I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of any other great sequels that like we sound like we don't know film if we're saying Star Wars and Across the Spider-Verse, but it is what it is, man.
All right.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh yeah. Perfect. Is this the greatest movie ever?
Many people would say yes. And again, I would probably say yes.
I'm gonna say no. And I think it is.
What is?
It's Shawshank.
Really?
Yeah.
I really love Shawshank. I think Family Guy ruined that for me. It's really so intense.
I don't watch
But-
Family Guy.
Hey, man, whatever.
Guess I
Cinephile.
won't now.
Yeah, don't.
Just to preserve
No.
Shawshank.
Shawshank is a perfect movie as well.
Yeah.
I just don't really love prison movies.
Why?
So my limited scope, I just think of every other prison movie you've ever seen.
Escape from Alcatraz. Guardians of the Galaxy. Got a prison scene. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's think.
I just don't like the mentality. I don't know. It's hard to say. I like films that are set in one place, like The Hateful Eight. I kind of like that movie.
Longest Yard.
Sure. Adam Sandler, we gotta love him.
Yeah.
Or the original. Are you talking the original? Longest?
I haven't seen the original.
Bye. I just don't like movies set in prisons, I guess. So it docks it for
I
me.
kind of like it. Them breaking out, forming a plot.
No, it's a perfect movie.
You think
That's all I'm saying. Wait, are we?
Well, I
we're
just
talking
like
Josh?
the theme of prison movies. Like,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
but it's okay. Not for everybody.
Okay, yeah.
You don't like heist movies either.
I don't. Yeah.
And there's a certain type of movie I don't like, probably.
Like what?
What do I not like? What do you know about me?
I don't know anything about you.
I should.
Oh, it's cool to be mysterious.
I don't like Michael Bay movies.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't like heavy CGI movies. But I don't know. There's not like a trope that just I think never works.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing is I've got a.
No.
No, I think that's.
No.
I'm saying that myself. I'm not hearing that. I'm saying that.
There's a few good prison movies.
Okay. And Shawshank is a perfect movie. I stand by that.
Thank you.
Just not the best movie of all time.
You don't think so?
Yeah. In The Godfather, though. I don't know, man. I'll say it is. Again, it's not my favorite.
Okay. But it is the greatest.
Yeah.
I say it's Shawshank.
Okay.
But whatever.
I'll look at my letterboxd tonight, and I'll pick the best movie there is. Parasite's great.
Parasite.
I'm just thinking of the list now that's on letterboxd. Parasite's above The Godfather, and I prefer Parasite.
Should the Parasite be at number 3? Best of all time? I don't think so.
No, I don't. I don't know, dude. I haven't seen a lot of these other ones. I haven't seen Come and See or.
To read the whole thing, man.
Yeah, but all of these top. I think I counted last night. So the top 10 is like 5 American movies, and then the rest are like 7 Samurais in the top 10. I really like that film. You got to read the whole
Maybe
thing.
Letterboxd is kind of more of a global.
Yeah, absolutely. If we filtered this out to be American, I've never seen Schindler's List.
Neither have I.
You should watch that.
It's sad.
Yeah, that's 19. Return of the King is one of the best movies out there.
I like rom-coms. Yeah.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
Good to know. No, not necessarily. I mean, La La Land is considered a rom-com, and I like that. Crazy Stupid Love.
It's a drama. It's a
Exactly.
musical.
Yeah. Speaking of Whiplash, I think is a movie and one of the greatest movies of all time. But it's so, that's the other thing is when it's so recent,
Mm-hmm.
you need to wait to see like the cultural impact.
Yeah.
But again, when The Godfather came out, how many movies were being produced a year versus now?
Really not a lot.
Yeah. So of course it's easier for one to have this huge cultural impact.
Yeah.
Over the other. Okay, we can go to the next category.
Most literally new character.
I really like Santino, man, which is cool.
Really?
Yeah.
You see?
He's Michael's brother, Sonny, I think is.
Sunny,
what they call
okay.
him.
I just think it's.
I only say Santino because I was listening to Bad Friends one time, and they were saying who they are in the movie, and Andrew Santino said, "I'm Santino." So
Like James Conner.
Yeah.
Say Don.
Don Vito,
Just who
who I want to be, yeah, Don Vito.
you saw like a TikTok trend. It's like Don Vito like has no end.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah. Same. I'll agree with you there.
Well, this probably canceled. We should take this category out. Like
We never come up with
really
something.
have anything good.
There are no like strong female characters in this movie.
No black people.
Yeah. In fact, in the second one, there's literally one black dude that sits behind who's the guy on trial. Like
Yeah.
that is his name, the guy that talks funny. Yeah. There's one black dude behind him.
That's
We're like, oh my gosh, there's a black person in this movie. And you realize like how white everybody is. Yeah, there's no diversity, no strong
So it
female
wouldn't win the Oscar nowadays. It wouldn't meet the diversity
as of next year.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, do better, Francis.
Come on.
So yeah, that's probably an easy one there. Now let me read you guys some facts about the production. Got some crazy ones here.
Okay, let's.
I mentioned a few in the bottom, but I will say the ones that I didn't. Francis Ford Coppola turned in an initial director's cut running 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Okay.
Paramount Pictures production chief Robert Evans rejected this version and demanded a longer cut with more scenes about the family. Final release version was nearly 50 minutes longer than Coppola's initial cut. That's crazy because like studios always want you to cut and trim. They're all about trimming it, you know. So this is the first time I've heard of a studio wanting them to make it longer.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that Coppola was able to still put that same kind of heart in those other 50 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Because you would think as a director, if the studio was telling you to add more, you wouldn't know what to do with it, but made it work.
I wonder what was like that and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the scene where Sonny beats up Carlo, Johnny's husband, took 4 days to shoot and featured more than 70 extras.
Wow.
The use of the garbage can was improvised by James Cameron. So I don't get that. That took 4 days to film, and that's like
That's the cut they went with.
the worst part of the movie. That's crazy. So I don't know. Next part, the cat held by Marlon Brando in the opening scene was a stray that Coppola found while on the lot at Paramount Pictures. It was not originally called for in the script. The cat was so content that its purring was loud, so Brando's dialogue, as a result, needed to be dubbed over.
Oh.
I didn't even hear the cat. Just like watching it. Marlon Brando, when he was auditioning for the role, he wanted Don Corleone to look like a bulldog. So he stuffed his cheeks with cotton wool for the audition. Got the part. And for the actual filming, he wore a mouthpiece made by a dentist. And this mouthpiece is on display in the American Museum of the Moving Image in Queens, New York.
Wow,
We
cool.
should go see that.
We should.
Never been to New York, I know, and we have.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I want to know what it's like over there.
Interesting. I wondered how they achieved that.
Yeah.
Because the way he talks is so distinct and he looks so different. So that's interesting.
Dude, that would be really fun, though. Go to that museum.
Yeah, let's do it.
The Moving Image Museum. That's sweet.
Let's go in September.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so this is a long one. There was a great deal of mooning on set, started by James Caan and Robert Duvall. In an effort to break some tension during a rehearsal for the first scene, the pair of those, the pair, James Caan and Robert Duvall, mooned Francis Ford Coppola, Marlon Brando, and Salvatore Corsito. Caan told Time Magazine, "My best moon was on 2nd Avenue. Robert Duvall and I were in one car, and Brando was in another. We drove up beside him, and I pulled down my pants and stuck my ass out the window. Brando fell down in the car with laughter. Richard Bright claimed that he got to the point where every time you turned to open the door, he expected to see someone's behind. Even Al Pacino got in on the act, as he told Ladies' Home Journal. In a scene where I sit behind the desk, wardrobe made a big fuss about getting me in a shirt with a smaller collar. So while everyone was looking at the shirt, I took off my pants. When I came out from behind the desk, I got a laugh, even though we had to do the scene over." And the ultimate moon came when Brando and Duvall mooned 400 cast and crew members during the shooting of the wedding scene. They planned it carefully, and Caan, who overheard the plan, started to shout, "No, not here." Everyone working on the production and most of the extras roared with laughter. Some of the older ladies did not appreciate it, I guess.
Wow.
Eventually, Brando was crowned Best Prankster, designated by a heavyweight style leather belt with the title Moon Champion.
Nice. Well, there you go. That's why it would get canceled today.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mooning 400 people. Like, just that's the type of respect that he had. You could just do that. No
Insane.
consequences. Get a belt from that.
Imagine seeing that. You know, at one time the biggest actor in the world. I don't know if he was at this point in 1972. He certainly was after this.
Yeah.
But you see his butt. You know, he's just showing it willy-nilly.
Gotta get that footage.
You're just a random extra. It's there for one day.
Yeah.
See the biggest butt in the world.
That's crazy. So yeah. That's it. But there was also, I was watching a documentary about the making of this movie. Turns out there was a lot of trouble with the mob. The mafia did not want this movie to be made because they were making fun of the mafia, and then everybody else in Hollywood thought they were glorifying the mafia.
Right.
So nobody wanted this picture to get made. There were riots or like protests. People outside Paramount Pictures. The studio didn't want us to get made. You know, they bought the rights to the book that Mario Puzo wrote, and they offered it to, you know, all these different directors. Everybody turned it down. So finally, Francis Ford Coppola accepted. And his vision the whole time was just that he had to fight the studio every day, like I said, to get everything, you know, in his vision for the movie. They wanted it to be like set in modern day, like in the 70s, so they didn't have to like go through the trouble of the cost of production of making a biopic, you know, and just a whole bunch of other things. Like the mafia was threatening producers, sending like death threats to the house, like blowing up their cars, stuff like that. And yeah, lives were threatened, protests, mobs, studio trouble. Like probably the most troubled production of all time. And it happened to produce the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
I wonder how the mob felt after the movie came out.
I know. Probably they should have, you know, that's crazy.
Well, here's a story for you. I don't know if this is true. We'll have to do some fact checking. And if it's wrong, I can cut it out. But I went to my barber the other day. We were talking about TV shows, and he told me he was watching The Sopranos. Yeah. I was like, oh, I've always wanted to watch that. Just never, not good at TV shows, whatever. And he said that it got so good and so popular that the mob started like paying all the actors and everybody in production as like a thank you for how they depicted the mob. I don't know how true that is.
I've heard stuff like that before.
Really?
Like Tony Soprano, the actor who plays him, I can't remember his name right now, but he would get calls, like random calls with, you know, telling that he's doing it like that.
Wow.
That's
so cool.
Which is awesome. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, two different outcomes, I guess.
All right, so that just about wraps it up. It's The Godfather. What are we doing next week?
Let's see. Oh, I think Asteroid City comes out this week.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we're gonna see that. We're gonna talk about that. Also, The Flash, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see both.
See both.
Probably do Asteroid City, but maybe The Flash.
There's been tell with TikTokers that get early screenings. This is the best comic book movie ever.
Yeah,
so
I doubt it.
I highly doubt it.
Ezra Miller is like not doing interviews. He's not allowed to do interviews, but he's on at the premiere. They're doing one premiere of the movie.
Right.
So
crazy.
And the director said that he won't recast Ezra. You see that?
Wait, in the future?
Yeah. Said if they're making sequels, he's not going to recast anybody.
Well, I thought this was going to be like a soft reboot into the new universe. The new DC.
So there probably won't be sequels.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Through what has been going on with
seriously.
Well, beating people up at bars. Or not beating people up, but fighting people.
Yeah, beating them up, you know, like, and holding kids hostage, literally.
Yeah.
Literally. But that's our beloved Jonathan Majors. We don't know how true all those allegations are. If they are, that's horrible. If they're not, after one thing, he gets everything dropped. And Ezra Miller can go on this rampage. And anyway, so yeah, we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Asteroid City and
In the Flash. Yeah. Probably Asteroid City.
Probably Asteroid City and The Flash.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for fixating on film with us. Good night.